So how much we need to exercise? Based on World Health Organization, adults from age of 18 to 64 ideally need to exercise at least 150 minutes per week. So it's around 2.5 hours of moderate intensity activity. So it might be walking, might be running, might be playing, maybe swimming, but extra attention for age of 50, from 40 to 50, because for metabolic health is a very important age, and we need to take extra care for within these 20 years, because these 20 years will predict how long and how good we're gonna live in our 20, 30 years after retirement. So it's very important time. So these specific years, these 20 years, we need to focus on the strength training and to maintain muscle mass, because every single year we start to lose the muscle mass from age of 30. So plus minus, but if you're around age of 40 or 50, it's never late to concentrate on the strength and build up your muscle. So, but come back to World Health Organization recommendation for everybody in the world, doesn't matter where you live, not dependent on your culture or religion. We all designed to move. So make sure you at least have 75 minutes of vigorous activity. It might be running, it might be cycling, it might be swimming, it might be playing football or other games. If you find it's very boring, so make sure you interact yourself at least 75 minutes per week. Now, very important is the balance and flexibility. So it might be stretching, yoga, tai chi, or other movement, like a stretching of the body, connection of the body as well. But it's not essential. Eventually, it's not that important. It's getting much more important to get older, from age of 60, 70, then your performance go into decline. So elderly have a specific requirements, because they're going into decline, and how they will live will depend how much muscle they have. Yeah, muscle here is the greatest prediction. So that's why it's very important to exercise to keep our muscle active. They're not bats. Do you know that bats can sleep and don't exercise for half a year and then they fly like nothing happened? You can imagine I've sleeping in the bed for half a year and then start to run. It's not going to happen. They have an atrophy of the muscle quite fast comparison to other animals. So that's why human, we as a species, like animal species, we have to move quite actively and have to move quite carefully around, because we're quite prone to different types of accidents. Elderly from 60 plus recommended as well 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity exercise, 75 minutes more vigorous activity, and here they need to focus more already on the balance, because balance here going into decline. So our brain unfortunately start to function not that good comparison to years before. So bone strength and bone health with a balance. So because when you get older, our bones get more fragile and suffer under different fractures, unfortunately, quite dangerous. Teenagers are in a different spectrum. Teenagers from age of 13 to 17, they're going a lot of changes, such a hormonal boom. They need to exercise at least 60 minutes every single day. Yeah, so they need to run, go to the gym, I don't know, run to the school, run back. Of course, they're going through so many changes. Very, very important to have some sort of sport activity nearly every single day. At school, I think there might be quite limited options and a lot of stress nowadays in terms of academic performance. So make sure you allow your children express themselves and run or play in different activities, physical activities. So why it's important, and what does physical activity does to our health, to our metabolism? And of course, number one, hormone is insulin, because insulin controlling our main fuel, glucose, and insulin physical activity improve glucose uptake and reduce blood sugar after food. So it regulates. So it's a decrease or an increase going down. So with different words, it stabilizing, making more insulin sensitive. And it's very important because it's the most important hormone, and a lot of metabolic diseases linked to insulin. Glucagon. So glucagon is a form of sugar that gets stored in our liver, and then sugar levels in the bloodstream going down because physical activity or stress or fasting, or we need to survive the night. For the morning, liver release glucagon into the bloodstream, and they stay flat and they're functioning good, and they can survive till the next meal. Lactate. So lactate is the yummiest thing for our brain. Our brain just adore it. It is, if you give it 3 options, glucose, ketones, and lactate, what the brain will choose? The yummy number 1, he will go for lactate. Then, ideally, he'll love ketones because not so often he gets them, and only after glucose. Yes, so lactate is number 1, and lactate is a fuel and a signal for the fat oxidation and brain energy. It's amazing. It's affecting our brain plasticity and clarity. So if you're struggling from anxiety, if you're struggling from brain fogs, nothing better than lactate. Don't try to buy supplements with lactate because it's just easier to go and exercise. If you exercise and you feel a pain, achy pain, we used to call it lactic acid. So you produce your lactate. So enjoy it. So it's the best thing you can do during your day. You just feel a little bit achy within your body, knowing that you provide this nutrition to your brain. So myKinds is anti-inflammatory substance that actually helping support our body and fighting inflammation, because our body constantly has something to fight. Our cells struggling to attack different cells, including cancer cells. They know they produce them every day. They fight on them every day. Just a good metabolism, good organism, suppress them and don't let them to grow. But if it's prolongated inflammation, they increase in the risk the bad cells taking over, and we might have cancer. Unfortunately, this is nowadays reality. Irisin is very important substance because irisin converts white fat cells to brown fat cells. Yeah, so that's what's mean conversion? Conversion, that's mean they have more mitochondria to produce energy, and when we exercise, they're producing this, and they produce the substance irisin, and irisin stimulates mitochondria production within the fat cells, and not only fat cells, in the cells in general, including your muscle, because you exercise everywhere. And as a result, they boost energy what we can burn. So if you can't burn your belly fat or any fat, go and exercise. You will know that irisin will help you, and your fat will be more effective in the cold temperature as well. Adrenaline is another very important hormone. I would say is a booster. It's a strong. I don't know what might be stronger than adrenaline in the blood. So adrenaline lifting and up from the death or protecting us the most dangerous occasions. And sometimes we need to check if adrenaline will work. So if you exercise and sometimes you go into the mood and you want to destroy all the world, that is adrenaline. And adrenaline gets produced in physical activity. It's also metabolized glycogen because you utilize so much glucose, you need so much fuel, you're like a rocket. So you need a lot of energy to take off, and that adrenaline kick in, you need a lot of resources, and your organisms understand that now I don't know when it's going to happen. So it might be stress, it might be physical activity, it might be urgent fight-flight response. So adrenaline makes sure that your organism keep going. And of course, it boosts your performance, so you start to react very quickly. So that's why it's very important to make sure your brain functions correctly in these moments and your adrenaline gets released. And of course, cortisol. Cortisol gets released as well during exercise and physical activity. That's why it's important to exercise better in the first beginning of the day, because if you start to exercise in the evening, cortisol will be elevated and you might have a trouble to sleep, because in the evening cortisol should calm down, relax, and you're going to bed, and melatonin, the hormone for sleep, taking over. But if you exercise late in the evening, your cortisol and adrenaline is still functioning, and there's definitely no toward peaceful and good night. Yeah, so be careful if somebody prefer exercise in the evenings to have energy after a long day. So testosterone, of course, a very important hormone. Remember that testosterone is a hormone for women and men, so we both building up testosterone. Is very important testosterone hormone, even for women, mainly during menopause and postmenopausal women. It's responsible for building up the muscle, burning the fat, and support recovery after physical activity. And of course, other neurotransmitters like endorphins. Endorphins is, I would say, hormone that get produced quite largely from yoga and stretching exercise. So if you want endorphin, and that's out of, I would say, pleasure to go for yoga and stretch, then you have the most of endorphins released. If you need adrenaline, then sprinting and high intensity exercise will be best for you. So literally when you need to run, when you need very fast activity, when you need to go and do something very, very fast, run off from the line to save up your life, that type of very short and very active. So when you can climb the tree very quickly and have no idea how you did it, and then you have no idea to climb down. So approximately that type of activity. Cortisol. So cortisol is the stress hormone. So don't be surprised if you're doing different type of activity and the cortisol not getting raised, because it's raising up of endurance and cardio. So it's long run, for example, running marathons, then your cortisol get elevated. So it's a long physical activity. Growth hormone, very important, and growth hormones will be stimulated quite significantly during strength and high intensity exercise. And testosterone, of course, is strength training. So it's the weights, it's to build up this muscle. So every single man and woman, they need to have the strength. So the strength probably will be number one from exercise from age of 40 to 50s. So, but I have to not explain why, but this is something, there's no exclusion. We all need testosterone. We all need strength training. Other one, glucagon gets released if you want to balance your glucagon. So it's the more balanced release of sugar in the bloodstream than endurance cardio. So it might be different rowing, it might be running, it's quite long endurance exercise. And for immune system, again, the strength will be, and high intensity exercise will be best option. So in terms of neurotransmitters, what else? Dopamine. So dopamine, strength, again, in high intensity. So we want to get reward. Serotonin, I would say, is the hormone of calmness, and not calmness. Serotonin is like happiness, I would say. Whereas everything is fine, everything is good. So it'll be yoga and endurance exercise. In terms of endorphins, again, it will be as I said before, endurance and yoga, stretching. GABA, it's good for sleep calming. Yeah, GABA is like zen. And of course it's yoga. So stretching yoga is something very, very calming, meditation, with that sort of physical activity. Acetylcholine is very important neurotransmitter for learning, studying, and performance, I would say. If you need to learn something, or something new skills and new environment, discovery, then acetylcholine will help. And of course, it's a strength. Yeah, so strength is building up your muscle. Glutamate, and for glutamate is strength in high intensity. Yeah, but of course, all these numbers and all these recommendations, they average. So it's not what exactly you need. It all depends on your profile, your health needs, your lifestyle, your culture, and of course your environment. So when to exercise? What's the best? Of course morning, because you don't have energy in the evening. You're tired, you're exhausted. You just want to think a normal person. We expect we should be tired during the day. If you're not tired in the evening, I have a lot of questions why you're not tired in the evening. You should be tired. So you do something wrong. If you're not tired, if you don't want to go to bed, you need to reschedule your life. So that's why in the evening it shouldn't be, just because that's not normal. Yeah. So unless you're working, feel sorry for you if you have to work, shift works, and but of course, by circadian rhythms and by the human definition, we have to, ideally we need to exercise early in the morning. Yeah? So even if you're late owl, you're still probably better when you're waking up at, 10, 11, at what time you wake up there. So you go take a shower and you exercise then before noon. Because morning exercise, they boost your cortisol, they sharpen your focus, your attention will be much, much better. More important, you're building up, you burn this energy, ATP, yeah, adenosine triphosphate, and you building up this building block to sleep better in the evening. So that's why you need to build up, you need to be tired for evening, to melatonin to kick in better, and GABA receptors to identify, I got a hard day, so it's my time to go to sleep. Midday also might be good if you do the strength exercise, because they have the best coordination in the midday. So that's why if you want to lift something heavy, strength for 50 to 40 years old in the lunchtime break or something around 4 o'clock, that would be great. Yeah, because there is a risk of accidents, but your attention and so your balance will be the best in this time. So midday strength and performance is quite good. In the evening, if you do yoga, that's great, it's amazing. Anything with stimulating GABA receptors will go to sleep. So it's a very light walking, it's a stretching, it's maybe a little bit of swimming, not intense, just floating in the water, following a sauna or something like that, and get into the gym. And then you go to bed with chamomile tea. So then it's fine. But if you over-exercise, then you might have a problem. The problem with the gym that we all have addictions. And they're so prone to this dopamine. They all want this reward. And if you start to go to the gym and exercise, people start to over-exercise it all the time. They want these six-packs. They want to have this huge muscle. It's never enough. Mainly for the men, they want these steroids. They want this muscle. They want to be, it's never enough. And then they got addiction. So it's quite bad. Addictions, any addictions is bad. Yeah, because just this is the way how the brain works. We see social media getting very popular now. Go to the gym, go girl, or men. What they do, they live in the gym. They thinking of exercise. They can't. If you don't exercise, the mood gets affected. They trade relationship. They trade family. They trade work for exercise. It's madness. So that's why be careful. Make sure you balance it. Make sure you exercise with right attention. You exercise for survival needs, for your well-being, but because not as your purpose of your life. Because physical activity and our muscle is not the purpose of our life. It's something that's supporting our life and supporting our purpose of our life. But make sure you don't over-exercise. So what's the signs of your friend? Because it's easy for all of us. We want to look fit. Bikini, mainly in the summer. Now ladies need to have this masculine body. They think somehow it's beautiful and attractive. Activewear never been that popular as now. I think it's like a fashion now, more of activewear, of a gym wear than evening dresses. Evening dresses, balls and the dance, they gone in the past, discos. So now I have a gym. So it's very important, and we need to have a sign of dangerous over-exercise. So what signs, if you understand it's a little bit too much, you need to slow down, is fatigue that not getting resolved with the rest. So in the morning, you're waking up because of cortisol. It's too much cortisol. You're over-exercising. Yeah, the cortisol need to go. So you need to make changes. So waking up in the morning and you don't have energy, you're tired, it's alarm. Yeah, we need to investigate where this tiredness come from. What do you do during your day? Just record it. Record maybe last 2 weeks what happened, or at least a week. Yeah, and then see. Yeah, ask healthcare professionals, talk to your doctor or other expert to find oil with your friend, or even ChatGPT. Artificial intelligence getting so good in that. In terms of you're a woman, you have a problem with your menstrual cycle. If you notice to have more frequent injuries, so you're getting ill more often, any flu, every single COVID, any virus walking around, you catch everything one by one, and you're declining in performance. So it doesn't mean you're wearing off, you're burning out physically, and you need to have a rest. And of course, it's a mood thing. Other mental well-being and anxiety or depression, of course, will kick you in if you overload yourself with physical activity. What neurochemicals reinforcement and what happened? It's not only about the gym addiction, it's about any single addiction. It's just so easy to get into this loop of addiction, of alcohol, smoking, of exercise, of eating, of sweet, of love affairs, or any types of affair. It is like a circle, that getting in is very hard to get out. So it's all about dopamine, and of course, because dopamine drives us, gives us motivation, and after that, giving us these terrible cravings. I want more, and it's never end. So endorphins and enkephalins, this is another very important neurotransmitters. They play a crucial role in reward loop because they are like euphoria and pain relief. When you exercise, they both get released. But the danger of exercise, of endorphins, is not that dangerous in terms of addictions, but enkephalins are. So literally, they a little bit like cocaine, and you might be addicted. So you will search for this euphoria feel, like your day is very bad, and then you go row, or you leave to go to the gym, and finally feel like relief. And you feel so bad, that's a sign of addiction. There's something need to be treated. There's something need to be addressed, because one addiction, they will bring us the loop something else. It seems like it's healthy, it looks like nothing wrong with that, but no, I want create awareness about it. Is not a good sign. If you notice your loved ones, your friends get so attached to the gym and physical activity and to the mood, please talk to them and explain them that is not healthy. So endorphins as well get released to balance endorphins, and they can cause this post-exercise dysphoria or depression. So it's with different words, you start to go high and low, and this is because of too much exercise. So be careful. It's quite difficult for professional sport people who need to train every day for quite long hours, but they usually get trained from early childhood. So that's why all these Olympic champions and people who do this sport professionally, they do it early. So don't try to get in that or exercise if you enter it in the midlife because of danger of addictions. Another topic I want to cover with physical activity is body dysmorphic disorder. I worked 15 years in aesthetic medicine. I met so many people. So by statistic, 1 in 50 people are affected by body dysmorphic disorder. They don't like what they see in the mirror. Yeah, so we don't like the hair, they don't like the body, they don't like the lips, nose, boobs, bum, chest, or they don't like the hair, don't like themselves. And they need to accept this as disorder. It's something that healthcare professionals need to decline. For example, take it really precautionally. For example, in aesthetic medicine or plastic surgeries, we see a lot of them then being absolutely normal, attractive person, and then they coming back and they want to inject more and more. We have to decline. We need to support and explain that they crossing the boundaries and it's going out of normal. It's already getting into mental health condition, and the person obsessively focused on their appearance, and they look on themselves in the mirror and see different things. So, for example, they're too fat, or they're not happy with what they see. So, quite often men have this muscle dysmorphia, so they want to get more and more muscle. They go to the gym, they try eating these dangerous steroids to build up this muscle more. So please avoid it. please be aware of such condition, and if you know someone, just address it and say that they might need your help. Eating disorder is another topic I want to cover, because eating disorders, they're much more common than you believe, and it's not only anorexia. Because when you're talking about eating disorder, we think that people restricting calories and they don't want to eat, and of course it's very dangerous and fatal disease. Bulimia nervosa, this is when you eat too much of food, and then they binge eating episodes, and then they won't bring all the food out because of mental condition. And binge eating is very common, and getting more and more common because people have addiction of sugar, so they can't stop eating, and they eat their own stress. I'll say binge eating is more common than anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa, and is definitely underdiagnosed because people simply don't recognize they have a binge eating. Then you say, you eat too much. I say, no, I don't eat. And probably I notice the people come to me, my friends or somebody who has a binge eating, they can survive 3 days, but not before 5, that's it, because they can't anymore pretend. Yeah, so binge eaters, they say they don't eat, but if you had to suffer that, please address it. Binge eating dangerous, because they if they don't realize the condition, they just get ill. They get obese, they have all metabolic illness and disease. And a lot of people just underestimate amount of binge eating disorders. So, of course, that all these things need to be addressed, and if you know somebody, just don't walk silent. Just express your emotion, just express your knowledge, and make them aware of that. Okay, let's back to the exercise and what happened to our energy, and what's going on with us with ATP or adenyl triphosphates is the money in our organism, in our bank. And we have, if you like, 3 different energy systems. We have phosphagen, that's run by ATP, and this is the first 0 to 10 seconds. It's very super fast, it's like a turbo, if you like. And they run by creatine phosphate. You probably heard about creatine. It's a very good substance as a supplement that you can take during your day, and it's very good for your brain. It's well known that creatine is quite beneficial. Then you have anaerobic glycosis. Anaerobic glycosis happens from 10 seconds to 2 minutes approximately, and you should perform your physical activity very fast. And then they start to burn the glucose and produce lactate. Yeah, lactate we know is super, super good stuff. And when we shift into aerobic system, so anaerobic we don't use oxygen, and aerobic we use oxygen. And oxygen-linked exercises is over 2 minutes up to hours. So that's long running, long swimming, long walking, that sort of thing, or continuous exercise. They speed much slower, and they start to burn the fats, carbs, and some proteins as a fuel. So if you want to produce this lactate, make sure you do fast, 10 seconds, maximum 2 minutes, maybe half a minute, 1 minute exercise, and you know you will get a day lactate for your brain and your general well-being. So ATP, that means super fast spikes, is a lot of energy. Glycolysis will go a little bit slower and produce lactate. And oxidative, it's building up slowly. So in terms of if you decide to join the gym or you decide to start physical activity, I highly recommend you to do some sort of test, because if you never done anything in your life, and I say, okay, so usually from a new year, from January, everybody after Christmas time, they're writing down these new year resolutions, and it's always, I go to the gym and I start to exercise. So if you want them, make sure you do questionnaire before resolution to make sure you do it correct way. Don't sign up to the gym if you don't fit to the gym. So if you're overweight or you have some sort of issue or you have a considered tiredness and weakness, you're probably not fit even to step to the gym. So do PIRQ, physical activity readiness test. And in this test, usually they give you when you sign up to the gym, because actually they're responsible for your health, and if you exercise and they see, oh my God, what are you doing? They have some sort of responsibility. And that test have different questions. You need to answer yes or no. For example, has your doctor even said you have a heart condition or high blood pressure? So if yes, that's it. Go on, you need to think about it. Why it yes? Are you sure? What will be your next steps? Do you feel pain in your chest at rest during daily activities and when you do physical activity? Do you lose balance because of dizziness? Or you have lost consciousness in the past 12 months? Have you ever been diagnosed with a chronic medical condition like diabetes, arthritis, or even cancer? Are you currently taking any medication that might affect your response to exercise, like herb medicine, including supplements, blood pressure pills, etc.? Do you have any bone, joint, or muscle problems that could be done worse by physical activity? So you might even don't know that. A lot of issues and low inflammatory disease is not even diagnosed when they go to the gym, and then you find out, oh my God, yes, I actually got it. Has your doctor ever told you that you should only do medically supervised physical activity? And if you answer any question yes, then you have another question to reply. Is your condition medically stable or under control? Do you understand what's going on with you? Have you discussed it with your doctor recently? And do you feel confident managing this condition during activity? So you should be informed. You should know what's going on. And without proper blood test or proper assessment, or at least awareness, don't sign up. Don't run like a crazy. Don't exercise and don't follow all these YouTube, TikTok challenges. Then they're life-threatening. It's dangerous. I'm telling you, it's simply dangerous. That's why I motivate all the doctors, healthcare professionals, step in and explain. If you're overweight, if you have metabolic issue, don't run to the gym. Yeah, crawl slowly. It will take you the time with all the needed awareness and support for responsible healthcare professionals by your side. Do your research, because only slowly, when you will slowly grow to the gym, you will get conditioned. You'll be so improved by the time you will step to your gym floor. So now let's talk about recovery. So for example, they are all healthy, or we start going to the gym and they start to experience these recovery factors after physical activity or quite intense physical activity. ATP recently is happening at the time around 3 to 5 minutes, and they use moderate energy. Lactate clearance happens within half an hour to 1 hour. So is that quick, so you can't really catch it. So get produced and get utilized straight away. Muscle repair and rebuilding, they're taking up to 72 hours. So what does it mean? And they use a lot of energy. So that means with 24 to 72 hours is mean at least 1 day to 3 days. This is the time, next day after physical activity, you need the most food. You need this energy. You need proteins. You need balanced diet. And if you feel hungry, or if you feel tired and you have these surges to something sweet, is absolutely normal. So if you exercise today very actively, probably the same day you wouldn't be that hungry because you just ate. You use so much resources. Your organism actually just need to sort this out, getting all the information. But next day is very important. You have a more balanced, protein-rich diet within next 2 days. Hormonal and urine reset might take hours up to days. It's variable, depends on the person, and depends on your physical activity. But what I want you to understand, that recovery, the days after, few days after your physical activity, taking more energy, requires more nutrition than during the day of your physical activity. So then you go to the gym or you exercise. That is not the most energy demanding day. The energy and the magic happen within the next few days. So what happened in terms of recovery, in terms of muscle, in terms of our metabolism, and how this adaptation, how organism getting used to finally start to move around after your sedentary lifestyle. Your protein synthesis changed and they get more ATP hungry process, if you like, 24 hours after. Mitochondrial biogenesis, mitochondria get activated because when you produce these factories to get more energy, and probably if you didn't exercise a lot, your mitochondria there's not so much mitochondria, so they need to hire and I would say create more mitochondria in your organism, you to have energy. So if you don't have energy, probably that's why, because you don't have mitochondria. And the best way to build up this mitochondria is physical activity. Then they will start to generate and produce more mitochondria. Hormonal recalibration is a cortisol, is insulin, is testosterone, so powerful hormones. They in the constant battle and the constant stimulation go up and down, so they get much more active comparison to normal survival rate. And of course your immune system and inflammation control, because physical activity, these neurotransmitters and chemicals produced in physical activity, they have an amazing anti-inflammatory control and is a very good protection from cancer. Yeah, because inflammation is predictor for cancer. So let's talk about like the energy, how much it costs. I mean, how much it costs physical activity, how much we have to pay. I mean, in terms of our energy, how much we're gonna resources we need to get to sprint, for example, for 10 seconds of exercise, super intense. Then you're running from elephant, or not elephant, it might be from elephant or lion, and is mostly ATP. And they're creating the huge spikes of energy. Then it's the most energy efficient. When weightlifting, for 45 to 60 minutes, so go to the gym and you're taking 15 kilos weights, or you do this chest or legs, you lift different weights. So they also improve your ATP turnover, and they increase protein synthesis because they build up these muscles. Yeah, and I recommend you, when you do lift, make sure you do the stretching. Yeah, because we need to build muscle in both ways. So not only lifting but also stretching with the weights, with weightlifting, stretching. So and you need more muscle and you need more protein 24 to 48 hours after. So make sure you're protein rich in these specific days. High intensity is good, is amazing, and they very high during your physical activity when you do the exercise. And long run have a moderate effect, and yoga or stretching have low consumption of energy. So that's why if you want to build up this energy, for mindfulness purposes, good, is amazing. But if you want to build energy in the morning mood, then go for weightlifting. It's very important to mention electrolytes, because when we sweat, mainly if you sweat in physical activity, to contract, every single muscle to contract, they go through a lot of electrolytes, open and shut, mainly magnesium and calcium, sodium, potassium. Yeah, so the electrolytes get super activated. They open the shut. Is every single contraction is multifunctional and different. A lot of stages process. They use a lot of electrolytes, microelements. So it's very important. If you sweat and you lose them anyway. Some get into the cell, some going out, so you do lose them. Yeah, you want, you don't want. So it's very important to hydrate and bring this back. More importantly, if you sweat. So if you're not sweating, and sweating not only from physical activity, you might go to sauna, and sauna effect or very hot environment actually have similar effect on us as exercise. So make sure you use correct electrolytes, is to build up your fluid balance, to keep your muscle contractions, nerve function and pH, and correct blood pressure, because that supports your nerve system. And yeah, as I said, it's very important to contract your muscles. So what's going to happen if you have deficiency, if you exercise and you don't rebuild it with the right amount of micro elements? Sodium low levels can cause hyponatremia and you might experience headaches, confusion and even nausea. Potassium, you might have muscle weakness, cramps and irregular heartbeats. Magnesium is a very poor recovery, muscle spasm and fatigue, and calcium affect muscle signaling and bone remodeling. So make sure you take these electrolytes. The post-exercise hydration guidance is around half a liter to 700 milliliters the first half an hour to 1 hour after exercise. And add electrolytes after intense physical activity and a lot of sweating, or a sauna, anything where you're losing this with sweat. In this case, highly recommended. Add electrolytes, carbs, long chain carbs, and proteins. So, and now I want to talk about proteins, because any physical activity and the muscle require us amino acids. So we have 9 basic essential amino acids we all need. Yeah, so it's valine, tryptophan, leucine, lysine, histidine, and others. So that means we have to get them. In not getting synthesis of them, so we need to get them with food. So, and then we have non-essential amino acids like tyrosine, serine, proline, glycine, alanine. They get produced in our organism based on our essential amino acids. So it's if you need, you can take a supplementation, but if you have the good source, a lot of proteins with your nutrition, you don't need non-essential amino acids, but they're all essential for normal metabolism. Now, of course, will be the question in terms of proteins. You maybe heard about fast and slow proteins, and what is the difference? Of course, there's no difference. There's this fast or slow. I think it's more nomenclature to confuse the people to say, there's this fast protein is creating the science out of the science, whereas no science. We have different words. Fast protein is lean meat, and a slow protein is with fat or fiber. That's it. It's extra. So it's not just a slow. They're slow because something's slowing them down, because they're not poor, whereas something extra comes together with that. So fast fat will be low in fiber. They will be low in fat. They're perfect, for example, after post-workout. They trigger muscles and they help with recovery after physical activity. So, and that will be egg whites, white fish, maybe chicken breast, turkey, or the same rabbit meat, prunes, hemp seeds, tofu. And the slow proteins, they everything have an extra. They stand a little fat between meat already, and it's quite advisable to use slow, high in fiber and fat in evening time, because we need to survive fasting overnight. And we need to provide organism all the essential nutritions for that. And that will be beef steaks, oily fish like salmon, lamb, whole eggs, cottage cheese, oats, lentils, chickpeas, and others. And what they do, they improve satiety signal, like glycagon-like protein 1 or GLP-1, the actually part of Ozempic. Okay, so how much of protein do we need per kilo per day? This is probably questions for all of us. The good news is the essential and baseline in the UK, majority of the people, like 90%, do consume enough amount of proteins. However, it's not enough for longevity and a good life or good physical activity. So we do see some sort of disbalance of protein intake, and we need to create this awareness, people to take more proteins and add them more balance in their diet. So for basic health maintenance, so actually just basic survival rate, we need from 0.8 to 1.2 gram per kilo of your weight. If you have active lifestyle, or you have a light training, so literally absolutely just maybe essential basic walking, 1.2 to 1.6. But if you want to build up strength and build up your muscles and you're working on your improvement, 1.6 to 2.2. But more importantly, if you want to lose your weight, here the thing, you need the most of proteins. So if you want to get ready and reduce your weight, you have to consume more protein-rich food from 2 to 2.5 grams per kilo, because first of all, to digest the proteins, your organism is using up to 20% of energy already. So actually, if you keep your diet in terms of calorie the same, but you use less carbs and a little bit more proteins instead, mainly not long chain carbs, I'm talking about short carbs, then you reduce your kilocalorie intake up to 20%, and already quite significant. In terms of anti-aging and longevity, we want people elderly use at least 1.6 to 2, and that is actually a muscle building result, because older they get, harder for us to build up the muscles, so we need to take it more seriously. So older they get, more proteins actually we need to consume. So there is a plenty of different calculators. You can visit online and you can ask artificial intelligence how many proteins do you need. They have different questionnaire. So www.calculator.net, you can calculate proteins there, and other calculators about your performance or activities. So please be proactive a little bit. With modern life, we have so many opportunities, we have so many options, and they're free. It's never been so much information, so amazing advice and hacks in human history for free, what we have all now. We complain about social media, we complain about modern world, but we simply don't see the richness and benefits, but they simply ignore and blank. So use it for your own benefits. Is it enough of minimum proteins? I just said no, it's not enough. So if you discover that, oh yeah, I'm taking minimum, make sure you make some changes in your life, and that maybe will motivate you a little bit to do more physical activity. And remember, hydrate. More proteins mean you need to drink more water. So it's very important. Hydration, increase your hydration with increasing amount of proteins. So now I just want to cover and talk a little bit about the ratio. So all that, of course, is not obligation, is some ratio here and there, so many different diets, so many different advice. We're all individual, we're all different. So what is right for me wouldn't be right for you, but let's talk about a little bit of theory, what's good. If you like carbs, consume them in the morning. Yeah, and we say no to carbs in the evening or afternoon. Why? Because insulin sensitivity is the best in the morning. So the carbs that we're going to take, they will be the best utilized and used during the morning. So the harm from sugar, direct sugar, or you turn a little spoon of sugar or chocolate, will be less harmful than the same in evening, because insulin sensitivity will go peaking 2 hours after you wake up, and the best time to eat your carbs will be 2 hours after wake up. So you can have a higher carbs in the morning, moderate in proteins and moderate in fat. So in midday, we still have, ideally, we want you to reduce your carbs intake and increase your proteins, slow proteins, because they take very long time, and moderate in fat. And in evening, they want absolutely, ideally, we don't want to have a carbs at all, so leave them for lunch and breakfast. And we want more moderate proteins and more in fat, because fat will help us to go through the night. Yeah, because they breaking down quite slowly, and that should be enough for the night time. So it's, of course, the fat, we're talking about good oil like olive oil or some sort of cheese, that sort of fat, but make sure you keep the healthy fat ratio. Now I want to cover a topic about protein shakes. They're so popular. I think shakes and proteins, powders, they are booming. and this is something they never heard about. And I think protein shakes become essential part of bottle in every single kitchen right now. Everybody talking about, but let's discuss it. What are they? They have usually, so first of all, majority of them made from milk, and they get absorbed very fast. And the ideal whey protein isolate, for example, is a more pure form, is perfect for post-workout, get absorbed very quickly. Whey concentrate, absorption quite fast, and might be used as a general health or adds on to your diet if you don't have enough of protein during the day. And casein is a slow absorption, and casein will be more advisable for nighttime recovery or evening if you want to build up muscle, because muscle grows in the night. And if you don't have enough of amino acids or protein for the nighttime, you probably wouldn't build up your muscle with the same speed as you want. So casein protein shake will be a great source for you. If you're vegetarian, vegan really, and you can't use a milk product, there is a plant-based proteins like pea, rice, or soy, or hemp. They have moderate absorption. They quite beneficial for daily nutrition. Also, they have egg proteins, including marine collagen. Yes, marine collagen. This collagen is so good for the skin. They made from fish skin and bones. They quite fast absorb, so you can use them in physical activity and exercise, and they're quite good for joints and tendons, and they have some sort of anti-aging. But again, if you do eat fish and different types of bones or stocks, so you probably don't need a marine collagen. But if not, you might consider add it maybe once a week if you want after physical activity. But now let's talk about if you eat too much protein. So it's another spectrum. It's not enough of proteins. We need to find the source, how we can eat a little bit more. But what happens if you eat too much? And here is a danger, because proteins might be dangerous for you if you're taking too much of them. So excess, that means over 2.5 to 3 grams per kilo of your body, might have a long-term damage. And so this means if you're taking too much protein shakes a day, and you find out, and actually you start your day with protein shake, you do it afternoon, and when you go to bed, and next to that you eat meat, and oh my god, it's too much. Be careful, because you stress your kidneys. You probably will be dehydrated. You have a lot of water loss. You lose your calcium, and that will affect your bone health. You might start having your gut issues, but microbiome's effect might be significant, because they need our nutrition. They need long carbs. They need fibers. And of course, I suppose if you eat a balanced diet, you wouldn't be able to eat so much protein, because it's quite hard. And you increase your risk of heart disease. If it's heart disease. So don't think if you go to the gym, you have a lot of muscles, and you consume these proteins, you're risk-free. No, actually you're increasing your risk. And there's a lot of people suffering from for heart attacks or heart conditions, working in the gym too much, and is made artificially with over-exercising and over-consumption of proteins. So that was known already quite a long time ago. They called rabbit starvation. Then the diet and people, I would say hunters, when going for hunting times, what they were eating is the rabbit meat, and they didn't eat anything else. So as a result, the rabbit meat is very lean, so they don't have enough fat, they don't have the fibers in there, so it's absolutely like nearly poor protein, and they got protein poisoning. So that can happen. And symptoms of rabbit starvation has been the main diet, or the poor protein diet, is nausea, diarrhea, fatigue, headache, dizziness, and severe weakness, and even death, because you produce excess nitrogen and simply lack of fat for energy. So make sure you balance your physical activity, your proteins intake, and follow me to discover more.